explaining the features of small value collections from customers. Many times as brokers, we have a lot of customers who have to give us small checks of 5,000, 10,000, 25,000 and sending a person by rickshaw to the customer's office or home, collecting the check. It is a big cost, and it is not worthwhile for the brokers to sell. So what happens is that we just wait till let the customer come to office and give the money. Now the National Payment Corporation, which is a Section 25 company, not-for-profit company, has been set up by 10 banks, which is in the business of assisting essentially small payments. So small payments would include, for example, ATMs. ATMs where you withdraw 500 rupees, 1,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees. So that is one very good example of where money is collected. Then there is ECS payments. You pay your insurance premium, your regular premiums, where you give authority to the bank to collect on your behalf. Now substitute of this ECS is the NACH system, which is far more bigger and has more scope than the ECS system. Like for example, if you see the ECS system, if you give a mandate paper to your vendor or the agent like Tech Process, Bill Desk and others, they will take that mandate paper, go to the branch of the bank. So suppose if you have given Kandivali branch mandate, then the person has to physically carry the paper, go to Kandivali branch, get a confirmation from the branch saying that this signature is in order and your mandate is registered. Now instead of that, in NACH system, what they have done is you just have a check-like slip, which is a mandate. The mandate is scanned and sent to the bank. The bank is supposed to approve and register it based on the scanned copy. And once it is registered, then the mandate starts working. So it would take anything between 3 weeks to 6 weeks to register a mandate, whereas today it takes something like maximum of 7 days and minimum of 3 days. So between 3 to 7 days goes into registering of a mandate. So we have a much faster system which is there. So when I as a broker, I studied this system, I felt that this is a very useful system for brokers, because all that they need to take is this check once, which says that please honor the request of the broker as and when he presents it. So as and when, and there can be some amount which is a limit, 10,000, 15,000, 25,000, whatever limit is there, that is given. And once that happens, then the broker can go on making the request as and when there is a debit balance once a week, once in 15 days, and collect the money from the customer. Now this system was found so good by SEBI. This system was presented to SEBI also, and SEBI has just released the e-IPO report, which is a draft report which SEBI wants to implement. And now in e-IPO also, what SEBI is saying that you should give the mandate for IPO once to the broker, and then using that same mandate, the customer can go on applying several times as and when he wants to apply for IPO, he can go on applying. So there is no need of any check to be given to the broker for the purpose of getting any IPO transaction process. So then this same gateway is also used by the Aadhaar, combine this with the Aadhaar, and all the benefit transfers which are to be done, they are also used by the oil company using the same gateway. So oil company will just give a list that these are the persons to whom we want to give the credit. This is the Aadhaar number, this is the bank number and bank account, and this is the amount. You just go and give it to everybody. So Aadhaar based direct benefit transfers are also happening on the same gateway. So what we felt that in BSE forum as well as BSE, that this is a very good product for brokers, and Bank of India being housed in the same building, it can be very convenient for brokers to make use of this system and get rid of collection of checks from customers, and we will get payments also faster, because suppose today you release a debit request, tomorrow morning the money will be in your account. Whereas in case of a check, the check goes for clearing and then it comes back, and it takes, of course, the CTS or the check truncation system is also run by NPCI. But the fact that customer will write the check, he will give to our sub-broker's office, sub-broker will put for clearance, he will take a day or two, so that 3-4 days get lost like that only. Instead of that, moment there is a debit, next day a debit request, credit request can be sent, so you debit the customer account and credit our account. So this is basically the beauty of the system, and that is why we felt that we should make all the brokers aware about the system, and hence we have organized this small seminar. So first, having given the background, I would request NPCI members to come and make a presentation on how the system works, and then this entire system is supported by a bank, because you have to go through a bank. The bank will debit, credit, everything bank will do, because NPCI system is accessible only to banks. So I would request subsequent to their presentation to the bank to come and explain to us what kind of support and how the system will work so far as the Bank of India branch over here is concerned. So I invite, we have with us Rajit Pillai, who will be making a presentation on how the system works with NPCI.
I would like to welcome and thank each one of you for taking your respective time out for this wonderful presentation. And I also thank ma'am for this opportunity, and I also thank her for explaining our NACH product in a very simple and nice manner. So shortly what we'll do is, we will run through all the products to you. You can also take and probably understand better and fit in the right product in the right place for your daily transactions. Now obviously NACH debit is the main focus here today, so we'll elaborate on that and discuss on that much more in detail. I'll request Kiran to just go through the entire presentations in the coming
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So what I'll shortly do is take you through a brief presentation talking about what NPCI is, because to a lot of you NPCI would be a new entity which you are getting introduced to. Though it's always very difficult, I guess I am hearing Dina madam for the second time, and the way simplicity in which she explains things, it's very difficult to speak after her and talk about complex subjects like payments that she has so simply explained in the last 5 minutes. But I'll try to explain it as simply as possible, and also try and see how it can benefit you as a broking community as such. So this is, as Madam said, NPCI is formed or constituted by 10 member banks. These are the primary stakeholders of NPCI. It includes public sector banks, private and foreign sector banks, all put together. The whole idea of bringing about NPCI is by RBI is to consolidate the whole payment system of the country. So it's an umbrella institution for processing all the retail payment transactions of the country. So that's the idea with which RBI, Reserve Bank of India, and Indian Bankers Association has constituted an institution like NPCI for processing all payments of the country in a centralized and a standardized fashion. So these are some of the products of NPCI. NPCI again is a bank-facing institution. So we are not an end customer or an end corporate facing institution. So we provide our services to the banks. So we act as an intermediary between two banks who wants to transmit funds using various of the methods. So there are various ways in which we transmit funds. Like for one of the simplest products to understand is when you go to an ATM today. There were a few years back, if you had to walk up to an ATM, and if you had an ICICI or a Bank of India card, you were forced to go to a Bank of India ATM and do a particular transaction. So, but the times changed, and now if you have a Bank of India card, you can even walk up to an ICICI Bank ATM or a State Bank of India ATM and do a transaction. So how that happened is because NPCI has set up a centralized switch, something called an NFS, which you see on your screens. It's the National Financial Switch, which allows transactions to be routed to multiple banks in the country. So it's a centralized switch which integrates more than 1 lakh ATMs in the country, and which allows you the power to, with any debit card, enter into any ATM which is NFS enabled and do a transaction and do a withdrawal on that particular branch. Not only withdrawal, but also other services like your balance inquiry and others can also be done on those ATMs because of NFS as a central unit which is working there. Another service is the CTS, which I assume which all of you would know, is a check truncation system. You had few years back or a few months back, you had if you were processing a check, if you had issued a check, it would take an outstation check would take somewhere around 5 to 10 days. A local check would take around 3 days for processing. The reason why this used to happen is because the physical check had to move to the other bank's clearing center, and the other bank's clearing center had to process it and respond back to the bank which has collected the check on your behalf. So all this has been curtailed now. Check truncation system is a system wherein not the physical check but the digital image or the scanned image of the check is flowing to the other bank along with the data of the check, and the other bank is able to see the image of the check and is able to say, okay, I'm okay with accepting this check as a debit into the account, and or not okay with the debit to the account. So that's the check truncation system. So the whole country now has been broken down into 3 grids, that is north, west and south. All the centers which are processing micro checks have been migrated to the check truncation system, and that's one of the beauty of products that we have launched. It's called the check truncation system. The other service is the IMPS, immediate payment services. This is one of the unique products of NPCI, which allows you to an individual to remit funds to another individual or a corporate at an instant. So at an instant, if you initiate a transaction using IMPS, using the bank's website or your bank's mobile application, it would be credited to the end customer in the next 5 seconds or less than 10 seconds or so. So that's how fast the money remittance is. So nearest equal to IMPS would be something that we all know of, NEFT, which is a product of RBI, which again is a batch-based processing. It has around 7 to 8 cycles in a day, and if you remit funds, say before 9 a.m. in the morning, it gets processed in the next batch of around 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock, and the other person receives money after that. But IMPS is a process which allows you to instantly transfer funds at any point of the time. It's functional 24/7. Even if it is holidays, RTGS holidays, it doesn't matter. So IMPS does work from the bank's websites, from the mobile banking option that the bank has given you, and you can remit funds to any of your near and dear ones or your customers using IMPS as a service. RuPay, as you would have seen, a lot of these RuPay stickers now, which have been displayed on ATMs. Earlier, if you walk into an ATM outlet, you would see only Master, Visa or Discover or any such cards which was accepted at the ATM centers. Now RuPay is an equivalent scheme which we have launched for the domestic transactions. So soon a lot of banks today have started issuing RuPay cards. Soon if you are going in for a renewal of your card, and if you are using your card locally, in all probability you will be issued a RuPay card by the banks. So what we are trying to do through using RuPay is earlier the Visa and Master transactions which were getting routed to an external agency outside India, and then the remittance of funds which was coming back to the banks, that's what we are curtailing, so that the amount or the cost involved for the bank is brought down drastically using a RuPay card transaction. AEPS is an Aadhaar-enabled payment system, which allows you to which allows the rural customer primarily to walk up to a BC outlet, which is a business correspondent outlet, and withdraw cash using his fingerprint as an authentication. So when we withdraw cash from an ATM, what we do, we enter a PIN on the ATM machine, and we withdraw cash. So how do we authenticate is basically by entering the PIN. For a rural customer, it becomes difficult to remember a PIN. So that's where we brought in the Aadhaar as a concept for him to be able to withdraw cash from a business correspondent outlet. For those of you who don't know, business correspondent outlet is a business correspondent as a scheme is something which Reserve Bank of India had launched a few years back. And every bank, including Bank of India, here has thousands of BC outlets which is there in the rural market or in the rural segments of the country. Urban also, there are a lot of institutions which have put in place BC outlets. So this helps any customer who wants to withdraw small value withdrawals from an outlet. He can walk up to a Kirana outlet or any such outlet which has been instituted by banks as a BC outlet and withdraw that cash using his thumb impression. National Unified USSD Platform, NUUP. I think that's one of the strongest or the products which has the capability to touch every Indian in a short span of time. NUUP is a centralized transaction platform through which you can access your bank account at any point of time from anywhere in the country. So what NUUP says is that if you have a GSM phone, you just have to dial a *99#. It's a USSD code which we generally do. Typically we would do a USSD code when you do *121#, *111#, which your Airtel and Vodafone would ask you to access the services. So that's the USSD protocol which the banks, which the customer is used to using. So even if you dial, all of you having phones, if you dial now *99#, you will immediately get a response from the NPCI servers of asking you to enter your IFSC code or asking you to enter your MMID and proceed with the transaction. So once you have identified yourself with the IFSC code, then immediately it will show you a menu of what is the kind of transaction that you will be doing. So once you know this one central number of *99#, you just need not download any application, you need not send any SMS for knowing your balances, you need not send any SMS for transferring of funds. You just need to dial one number for all banks, for all customers across any of the banks. Just that *99#, and you will be able to access your bank account at any point of time. So that's the power of *99# or NUUP. Why I say that it's one of the most powerful products that NPCI has launched today, because it's the absolute simplicity of that product that any Indian, however educated or however non-educated he has, if he has a bank account, he just needs to simply dial one number, which is *99#, to be able to access that his bank account, do a transaction, fund transfer as a simple transaction, or even a balance inquiry as a simple transaction can be done by him. Another NACH as a product, which is National Automated Clearing House, is something that we will be speaking of detail at this forum. Particularly because all the products, most of it, other than IMPS, which also caters to the corporates, NACH is a product dedicated solely to the corporates or the institutions who want to either remit or disburse funds or collect funds from the customer. So that's what the NACH product platform is all about. It allows you, if you have, let's say, if you have 1,000 customers or lakh customers whom you want to transfer funds. For example, a typical example of remitting of funds would be your dividends or interest or any kind of benefit that you want to transfer to the customer. You will use a NACH as a service. It's cases where you want to, in one transaction you want to debit or you want to receive funds or collect funds from thousands of your customers, you will use NACH again as a platform, centralized platform for processing your bulk transactions. So it's one of its kind bulk processing transaction platform which is launched by NPCI, that's NACH. So we will dwell a little more on NACH because that's what I think would interest you as a subject. So as I said, NACH debit is a product which allows you to collect funds from banks, from customers who have banks across multiple locations, multiple branches, and multiple banks. So if you, for example, if you have an account with say State Bank of India or Bank of India, and your customers are in lakhs and are having accounts in around 200 to 300, 200 or plus banks across India, NACH allows you to, it's a process where you just share your debit file with the bank, and the bank is able to collect that funds for you from those 200 banks across the country and remit it into your bank account at any point in time. Right. So typical examples of, which is very typical of NACH debit would be your bill payment collections, insurance premium collections, mutual fund SIPs, loan EMIs, school fees collections. I would come to the brokerage industry because we have a specific slide where we have mentioned what is the specific use cases that you can look forward to using NACH debit. As Madam rightly said, we already have ECS in the industry today, which is operated by RBI. ECS debit, which I'm sure a lot of you would have given an ECS mandate to your billers, to your agencies to be able to collect funds from your account. But NACH debit has a lot of advantages over ECS debit. One is typically from your mandate collection cycle. When on ECS debit, if you have filled up a mandate, it has to be sent to your branch. For example, if you're sitting here and giving a mandate to a particular firm, and your bank branch happens to be in say Trivandrum, the mandate has to physically flow to your Trivandrum branch of say State Bank of Travancore and get processed there, and only after that your company would be able to, or you will be able to send a debit transaction to that particular account. But in NACH what happens is, like your CTS that I explained, instead of the physical mandate flowing, the bank whom you have tied up with will provide you a service of scanning that particular mandate and also entering details of that mandate and sending it to the other bank for processing. Right? And all this processing happens through the NPCI NACH system. So we act as a routing agency for these mandates to be seen by the other bank on the other side on their PC screens, and for them to be able to say I approve this mandate or I reject this mandate, depending on what the banker decides at that point of time. So there would be definitely cases of rejection wherein the signature of the customer is not matching, account number is incorrect, frequency is not valid or correctly entered on the mandate. So all those cases would definitely be rejected by the bank valid reasons. But yes, it gives you a time span of, as Madam said, between 3 to 7 days. You are assured that your response of the mandate, whether you can debit that particular customer or not, is received by you as a confirmation. On ECS again, what used to happen is, because your mandate is not digitized or your mandate flow is not digitized and there is no audit trail, there are a lot of cases. If you have already handled ECS, you would know that you send a successful debit for say 6 months or even 1 year, and a month after that you send and you will get a response from the bank saying mandate not registered. So this cases happens because the mandate process itself is not digitized, and you as a corporate entity have no proof that the mandate was successfully approved by the other bank. Right? So since the mandate gets scanned and on the system they have to say I approve or I disapprove this mandate, you have an authenticated proof saying I am sending this debit request to this particular account because the customer has given me this mandate and this is the image of the mandate and you have accepted this mandate on that particular date. So it's an authenticated proof for you to say, and you are covered enough by various regulations of the Payment and Settlement Act to say that if the mandate is registered, your debit should be honored at any point of time. Of course, ECS and NACH both caters or transactions flown, debit transactions sent on both if it fails on insufficient fund transaction. you have recourse to section 138, similar to your check process even on the NACH and ECS platform. So these are some of the benefits of NACH debit as such. And one more benefit what I would like to highlight is that NACH debit is a T+0 settlement cycle. So if you send a transaction in the first half of the day, the settlement happens by evening 6:37. Is the settlement happens between the banks. So how do you get the funds from the banks into your account is something you would definitely agree with the bank. But between NPCI as a centralized body or institution does that settlement between two banks at end of the day, that is at between 5:30 to 6 p.m. in the every day. So that's the efficiency with which NACH works. And if you have sent a lakh transactions during the day, at the end of the day at 6 o'clock, you would know what is the status of each of those lakh transactions. So there is no deviation from whether इस transaction मेरा success हुआ है कि नहीं, इसमें doubt है कि नहीं, क्या है. So at the end of the day, when you get a return file at 6 p.m., you are very sure that all these 1 lakh transactions have been processed. Out of 1 lakh transaction, 9,90,000 have been processed as successful, and so many transactions have been rejected. And if it is rejected, because of what reason it has been rejected, will also be known to you from those files. So this is the other side of it, which is the NACH credit. NACH, it's completely reverse of NACH debit. NACH debit, as I said, allows you to collect funds from the customer. NACH credit allows you to disburse funds to your customers. So if you have typical use cases of disbursement, as we know, NACH as a system is being used by corporates. Almost all the corporates in this financial year have done their dividend payments using the NACH platform, including almost all the banks who are participating on the platform have themselves, their dividends have been processed through the NACH platform. Dividend, interest payments, bonus payments, these are large ticket, small ticket, but large number of transactions are always processed. Some of the corporates have processed more than a few million transactions in a day on the NACH platform. So that's how we have scaled up the platform also to be able to cater to large and even to small corporates as such. So NACH Credit is a platform where your account gets debited and multiple customers across hundreds of banks across India can be credited using. From your side, you just send one communication as a one file to your bank, and your hundreds of customers or thousands of customers would be credited that. Yeah. So these are some of the features that I've already covered on what are the highlights of NACH. It's of course built on the ISO 20022 format, which is the international payment standard. So that speaks of the future readiness of the product. This is the bank ecosystem that I was speaking of, which has more than 200 banks on the debit. Again, on the credit, more than 200 banks, and our Aadhaar-based payment system has around 300 plus banks. So you essentially saying that you have access to more than 1 lakh bank branches, customers having accounts with 1 lakh bank branches across the country, for being able to debit or being able to credit funds from them. So these are some of the use cases that I spoke of that we could think from our side. I'm sure there will be a lot of creative implementations of NACH in your institutions as you go by, as you experience this service inside your institution. So any periodic payment that you would want to do to your customers, collection of debit balances from the customers this can also be a method of collecting debit balances from your customers. Collection of DP charges from your customers, collection of online mutual funds or SIPs, or even offline mutual fund SIPs can be done through NACH platform, and collection of derivative margins. So it basically saying you are an institution and there is your customer. If there is any transaction where you have to disburse money to him or thousands of your customers at one go, or collect, on the flip side, collect money from thousands of your customers, you can think of NACH as a solution to implement for doing the same. So this is so what do you do basically to be able to collect? Because collection would be the key or one of the major factors that you would be focusing on. So so what is the next steps that you would want to do to be able to collect funds from your customer. First, of course, you will have to approach your bank to be able to offer you this service of NACH. Second, once you start, once the whole setup with the bank is ready and you intend to collect funds from your customers, this is the mandate, standardized mandate form which has to be filled by the customer and provided to you. So this mandate form basically says that I allow institution so and so to collect funds from my so and so bank account and such frequency, and from date to date as a start date or the end date, and he signs on that particular mandate.
Actually, let us go through each field which is there. I don't think it is very clear to everybody. The first one is UMRN number, which is a number given by NPCI. So you have to fill up a one-page form and send it to NPCI. Is it to the bank? Okay, and bank will forward it to NPCI. It just gives your name, address, saying that I am desirous of using this service. So once you send this form, NPCI will register you and give you one number, which is the UMRN number. The date is the date on which obviously you fill up the form. Then sponsor bank code, where you have to fill Bank of India. Like for example, we are saying we use Bank of India to use it. Then when you take the mandate to Bank of India, they will fill up the code, or you can take the code and actually you can get these slips pre-printed also with the bank code printed only, so that you will not make a mistake when you fill up. And UMM code also is filled up, which is printed in advance only. Then I hereby authorize to debit, means authorize, I hereby authorize whom? The corporate entity, means if it is Dilip Bagri, so Messrs. Dilip Bagri and Associate to debit, and then what is it?
Account type, whether it's a saving account.
Okay, then there is account type, saving account, current account, whichever account that you tick that. Your own bank account number, which again customer should, so when you print the slip as a broker, will print the slips and give it to customer. So customer will fill his bank account number with bank. Suppose he is having bank ICICI Bank, so he will write ICICI Bank, or if he has Bank of India, he will write Bank of India. Then IFSC code and or MICR code, one of the two codes you have to put. An amount of rupees. So this is the maximum amount, correct?
Fixed or maximum?
Yeah, you can have fixed or maximum. So it's 25,000 or 10,000 or whatever you want to give rupees. Frequency, monthly, quarterly, half yearly, yearly, as and when presented. Like for collection of small debits, it is advisable for us to say as and when presented. So whenever there is a debit account, a balance in the broker's account, they will give the slip saying that as and when presented, you tick that. Debit type, it is fixed amount or maximum amount. So now, say you take always maximum amount, say 25,000, 50,000 or whatever. Reference 1, reference 2. These are internal references. Means what?
To the entity. So in case they want to identify a customer internally on the mandate.
So if you want to put say client code over there, your office client code, so you can put that client code. So when this slip data comes back, then you know which particular client is making this payment. So you can straight away upload. If it is name, then it is difficult to digitally upload. But if it is a client code, you can easily upload the code. Then phone number, ID of the customer, those data can be captured. So reference 1 and reference 2 are basically two data fields, which you can put in order to identify a customer within your system. Then period, this can be from this date to this date or until cancelled, means it is indefinite. Means the customer has a right, whenever he wants he will cancel, but the beginning date would be there, and then there will be signature of the customer. Okay, so this is a very simple form which is there, which is ideally suited. In fact, for fixed amount, suppose if you want to do SIP for mutual fund, today we are sending these slips to exchange is sending them. You can yourself collect the money in your own account. So that also this slip can be used. And good thing about this slip is, suppose there is a service tax change. then that element is built into the slip saying that if there is any regulatory change, then we will increase the mandate by that amount because of regulatory change. So that also was one of the changes that we got done into this system, because mutual funds, insurance companies, all these people, they have got fixed amount, but then they fluctuate because service tax. Suppose now GST is implemented next year, then the tax rate will change from 12.2 whatever now service tax is there, it may go to 16 or it may come down or whatever may happen. So that gets taken care of. So this is how only once you have to fill this form, and that is the end of it. Then once this mandate is registered, then you just need to give a debit instruction to the bank in an Excel format. They will explain how it is to be done, and then it will keep on happening.
So I just wanted to demonstrate or show you one of the creative implementations that the industry has done today from the mutual fund industry. So this is what the mutual fund company here has done is it's labeled or branded the mandate as a one-time mandate. So as Madam rightly said, you take what it's done is you give me a mandate once as an institution and allow me to debit you for any of the schemes that you are trying to buy with me. So it says applicable for all schemes of the particular mutual fund, right? If you see the scheme plan reference number there, the mutual fund company has written all schemes of the particular mutual fund. Since we didn't want to highlight one particular company, we have erased the branding out of this particular mandate. So what it allows is, as soon as I, as a customer, have given mandate to this particular mutual fund house, and I today invest in say gold mutual fund or a one-time mutual fund or a small cap mutual fund, I just have to, after giving this mandate, just send them a simple instruction saying you can debit my account or based on the mandate for this particular investment or this particular scheme. So it gets debited at that point in time, my investment happens. The company again is not burdened with wanting to collect a payment instrument at every point in time the customer wants to buy. So that's how simple the payment has been made using NACH by this particular institution that is being done. So I just wanted to highlight one of those things.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we have understood one part of it. That means you get mandate registered. After that, what happens for processing the mandate? As I said, it is to be done by the bank. So yeah, you could explain to us.
Good evening, friends. I think NACH debit has been well explained by NPCI and Madam in a very simple language, very listed language. For the bank, we are having our stock exchange branch in BSC building. They will be handling everything as regard to NACH. As soon as you receive the mandate from your client or your investors, those mandates have to be given to Bank of India. Bank of India will scan all those mandates and will get it registered through NPCI platform. Means suppose today you are giving us 100 mandates, so we will be scanning all those mandates, there is a scanner, and after scanning all those scanned copies will flow to NPCI platform, and NPCI will send all those mandates to the respective banks. It may not be a single bank, some mandates from ICICI, some from State Bank of India, some from other banks. So NPCI will segregate automatically through system, and it will go to the respective banks for registration. And the respective bank at that end will register those mandates, and they will give us the reward within 5 days. Now the 5-day time frame has been fixed for registration of the mandate. So within 5 days they have to either register or to reject it. So ultimately within 5 days we will get the fate of those mandates. Once we get the fate of those mandates, we will share the fate with you, that these are the mandates registered, these are the mandates not registered. If not registered, the reason will also be there why not registered. There may be signature variation, or account may be dormant, or there may be some various reasons for non-registration of mandates, so that those will be advised. For all successful mandates, you can raise the request of debit. So as and when, if you are taking in a mandate as and when, then whenever you need to raise a debit for a particular client, you can raise the debit in a specified file that will be sharing with you. That will be a simple Excel file where beneficiary's name, account number, then MICR code, IFSC code, amount, everything will be there. Those files you will be receiving and we will be uploading those files on NPCI platform again for procedure of transactions. Once we upload, by evening we get the feed, means transactions whether successful or not. For successful transactions, we'll get the fund. For unsuccessful, we'll get the regions. So in the same file, we'll give you the reward also. So these are the debits which have been made successful, and you will be getting the fund for those along with the MIS. And for unsuccessful also, we'll tell that these are the mandates, these are the transactions which have not been successful because of various reasons. Regions will also be there in the file. So everything will be in a time-bound program, and within suppose today morning, if we are uploading the transaction file, by evening we'll get the fate, and we will be sharing you the fate, and fund will be transferred to you, your account, whatever account you have opened with us, the fund will be transferred to you along with the complete MS. So it will make your job easy in the sense that you will come to know whose fund has come and whose fund has not come. Accordingly, you can take up the matter with your investors who has given the mandate. So process is very simple, and at one location we can handle pan India. Means in ECS what happens? ECS is not run centrally. Various RECS are there where the mandates have to be registered and files have to be sent at those locations. But in NACS, it can be done at a central location, pan India, across any bank and any branch. So this is a very good process, and it will definitely help the collection of funds from your investors, maybe one time, maybe at various point of time, maybe fixed, maybe variable, variation of amount, whatever mode is there, it is quite compatible and suitable to your requirement.
You know, the reach of NPCI is so high. I'll just give you one example. That till date, you know, NPCI's target is by 2020 we will reach every Indian, and every Indian will do one transaction every day on NACH platform. Means we are expecting 125 crore transactions per day. And today already NPCI has touched 17 crore plus persons, unique persons in India for whom some or the other transaction is done. So you can imagine how much is the reach of this system. You know, that is the huge amount of reach is really opened because of NACH. You know, anybody in any cooperative bank, any bank in the country, in ECS there were hardly 40-50 banks which were there. In NACH there are 300 plus direct banks, and below them there will be so many cooperative banks. So what I suggest, WISPy, a lot of members could not come today. What we do is we send an email to all the brokers. One is you give copy of this presentation, and sir, you should give us the Excel file format, and give us the Excel file format which we will be sending to all the brokers, and we will give the mandate format. So they should give mandate format, and you also give us instruction in the branch, who is the contact person in the branch, whom the member should approach. So we welcome Mr. Dilip, CEO of NACH, and Mr. Vipin. They have also come from suburb. It's really difficult to reach on time. So we were almost to the end of it. So we will. So you give us proper instructions for whom it is to be sent. So the Excel file and how you will send it back, so people can integrate it with their systems, and they can very smoothly use this. So any questions we have from audience? Dilip bhai, yes.
See, I'm from member K. Mukila. I've got one question that you mark that maximum amount, say suppose it is 25,000, and the client it is for 35,000 rupees. Then how to sort it?
You will first 25 and then 10.
Again,
next day. So one particular transaction is 25,000.
The frequency should be as and when presented, right? So which means that you can split, you can do whatever you want. If the frequency block is ticked as and when presented, you can just split straight away, and first day, next day you can collect. And in fact, what we are doing is now we are adding a second session as well in a day. So right now the session timings are such that because the volume is not much, but we have a plan because for the government benefit transfer, and we have two sessions in the day. So debit also we are going to start the one more morning session and second half session. Again upload. Or next day, whatever you want.
Most important thing is in the broking industry, what would be the cost involved in all this kind of transaction? Point one. Second, security level. Any customer first asks for the security, any misuse of their funds. First of this question is cost, second is security, and one question more that you said only 10 banks are the participants, and presently we were talking many of the banks are participants. So all this I need to get explanation on these 4 points.
So I'll go one by one. I think good question. So first of all, we have 252 banks participating. Okay. Out of all the large banks in there, so most of the large banks out of the 250 banks are participating. Okay. We have a plan to take 350 banks in next 3 to 4 months time, which means that all the banks which are participating in ECS would be entire country would be participating in ECS debit. So there would not be
10 bank concept. You had said
no, that is our ownership structure. That is a promoter bank, but that also there is a plan to expand. 250 banks, 252 banks are live. Just go to the slide. Yeah. So what happens is, if you look at overall perspective, So NACH 252 banks, precisely speaking, more than 100,000 branches are participating right now. All the banks, so there are cooperative banks come through, some of the banks comes as a sponsor bank route. So they tie up with, because they don't have the RBI account. Like very similar to ECS, we can't do the debit credit back to RBI account, right? So that is how they come as a sub-member route. But still, it remains the same. I mean, the whole process remains a seamless from a member perspective. That's point number 1. Point number 2, you asked very important question on the charges, right? Right now, when you present the mandate, right? So this is a 2-stage process. One is the mandate stage. Once the mandate is approved, then the transaction stage, right? 2-stage process. So first stage process, as of now, there are no charges, right? But the banks have been demanding, madam, that they need at least 2 rupees, 3 rupees per mandate to be approved. So for example, a State Bank of India, which is approving daily 5,000 mandates, right? At least they are saying, boss, our people are approving the mandates. It's very similar to like passing the check. Some remuneration has to come. So you may expect 2-3 rupees or some rupees charge on the each mandate declared. But mandate is a one-time activity, right? So once the mandate is registered, it can work on unless the date has been given, it can work whatever the time limit you want to look at. So 3 years, 5 years, any duration. I'm just coming to that. So that mandate perspective, the charges as of now it's free, right? But it would come in sometime, right? And it's a one-time charge.
It would be a nominal cost.
Yeah, nominal cost. Transaction standpoint also there is a charge of NPCI is charging 20 paisa as a switching fee, right? And the 25 paise you pass it down to the destination bank. So approximately 45 paise you are paying there. So 20 and 50 is the interchange. So that is the interchange on the sponsor, but again you might have to check with your sponsor bank that what is the value they are charging, right? So minimum would be 70 paise, maximum would be whatever 1.5 rupees, whatever per collection file entry.
And
in NEFT today the charge is 5 rupees. Okay, so think that it will not be more than that. So it will be.
So there should be one most important thing, comparison between a NEP and that IMS and RTGS system and what is the system. So we can understand this system would be more superior to both.
No, this will be superior and cheaper.
The RTGS system compared to RTGS.
See, RTGS system is for high value transfers. Okay, about 2 lakh rupees. So this is for small value payments. This is biggest thing is to remove the headache of collecting check from the customer. That is the one of the biggest headache. And small balances remain in our books. We have got 30,000, 40,000 accounts. which are having small balances. So all these things can be taken care of if we can just one shot send, like DP charges, you know, whenever you raise the charge once a year, once a month, you can just send one file, go bring the money, and that is the end of it. And you know that 50 rupees, 100 rupees check, who will come and give it? So that whole, you know, it becomes a very clean job where you can just collect the money.
One more most important question is security. Like cross questioning I am asking. Suppose I am myself a customer at a broking house. Then can we reject the transaction? Suppose I have given you a mandate, any broker or any customer. We are ourselves a customer. We have to explain the customer from our angle, safety angle. What are the security overcharges?
So the way
can we reject? Suppose I have registered myself as a mandate. I have given a mandate to my broker. I want to reject, but now I feel that this mandate should be.
No, sure. I will. You know, and this is related to the security of the transaction as well.
Yeah.
So first of all, from a legal standpoint, this has a legal protection as far as the similar to the check standpoint, right? So this is the once the mandate is given by the customer has to stand by it, right? That is point number one.
Suppose I am a customer.
No, I am just allow me to complete.
Yeah.
Then the second part is there is the way we are able to register the mandate. There is a add, update, delete cycle for the mandate. So for example, I have given a mandate to somebody and I want to take it back, right? You can look at the cancellation of the mandate, and again the cancellation of the mandate process can be initiated through the same broker, or it can go to the bank and same way decline it, right?
Ma'am, this question would be more to you. Suppose many brokers were previously taking POA from the clients. Then there was a complaint that many brokers have, not we but many has done also. So that a client has a right to terminate.
See, you know, like my office, I have already implemented this system. So what we do is first, whenever there is a debit.
What my question
is,
customers right to reject the.
So that's what I am saying. You can't reject. See, even if you do LIC ka thing or mutual fund ka, you can't reject once you have given. What you can do is you can withdraw the mandate. Mandate has to be withdrawn, which is how a standard any mandate system works. Okay. So what you will do, even in earlier ECS system also, you had to withdraw the mandate. So in our case, what we do, for example, we send an SMS to the customer saying, sir, today your debit balance is this, and we will be debiting your account on ECS system. Please make the balance available. So best thing, I mean, ये थोड़ा टेढ़ा रास्ता है, but best thing is don't keep any balance in the account. So automatically it will get rejected.
Like suppose I have given a mandate to one of my broker.
That's what I'm saying.
I find that he is not worth.
So then you should immediately you should go and withdraw the mandate, first thing, and secondly,
I can go to a bank and give my.
Yes.
I will give my banker that when he comes.
Yes.
Mandate now is permanently withdrawn.
Yes.
Because we have to look.
What is the form to be
customer will ask this question only. Any customer.
So if you see the form, okay, there is a place to create, modify, and cancel.
ये मेरा कहना है जैसे मैं ही कस्टमर हूँ, मेरे को राइट होना चाहिए, कोई भी कस्टमर यही
अरे है ना भैया राइट.
वही बस.
See, this is nothing to do with, this is to do with banking industry. This is not something new. Only thing is because why we are using it, because it is a faster and speedier and more convenient way. पहले के जो system में था, the thing would go to the branch 3 weeks, उसको collection में 1 week. Now that collection happens in 1 day, mandate registration in 4 days, and we in stock market are used to trading in nanoseconds and microseconds. So we want speed. So when we have something which is having lot of speed, so it is useful to other. Otherwise we could have used this system 10 years ago also. But it did not have reach, first thing, and it did not have speed. Today speed is there and reach is there. That is why we are using it. That's all.
Beyond doubt, the system is fantastic.
Yeah, so that's all.
But from as a broker angle,
no, from customer angle also, it is a very convenient system.
Any customer will ask these questions.
No, from customer angle also, it is.
Convince them. My angle is to convince the customer to take this facility.
Yeah, you have to convince him by saying कि तुमको यहाँ आने का
He's right. his right may be not affected.
Yeah,
Like,
so and first
like
customer.
behavior,
No, listen. First customer, yeah. See, if the customer wants to, buy, and suppose he is not, like my office is very strict, कि पैसा नहीं दिया तब तक खाते में पैसा नहीं है, I will not buy. ओके तो या तो अभी का भी चेक देके जाओ, या तो आप मुझे ये इंस्ट्रक्शन छोड़ दे दो सीधे, ओके यू रिलीज द इंस्ट्रक्शन, then it becomes very fast. And actually customer initially will start with say 10,000 mandate, फिर confidence आया तो 25,000 mandate, और कोई 10,000 में कोई किसी को लूट नहीं लेने वाला है. So you start with small mandates and then every year you go on increasing, as per requirement you go on increasing. So but I mean according to me, for making collections, what we are doing, we are working in a very very inefficient manner of collecting checks. And customers are not ready. उनको बोले कि ना you go on payment side और internet payment करो, they are not ready to do. Okay, they are not ready to do e-payments. But this is a very convenient way कि उनको SMS आएगा, my debit is there, SMS आएगा, we are debiting your account. If you have any problem, let us know. तो उसको पता है he has to make balance available. Then when the money is pulled, he gets an SMS, sir आपका पैसा मिल गया, thank you very much. So all those things now gives confidence, because at least 3 SMS will go before the debit happens in the customer's account. So it is not as if he is sleeping. He is having full awareness of the debit which is happening. So it is a very secure system. There is no doubt about the security. But then if somebody wants to fraud is a fraud. I mean, कितना भी ताला है ना, तो ताले को हम लोग डीले कर सकते हैं तोड़ने के लिए, लेकिन किसी को तोड़ना ही है तो he will break. So fraud is a fraud. Yeah. See why, and we are so worried about, how many customers, 20 lakh customers are active in stock market, secondary market, in bills and other mutual funds and all. Crores of people are giving mandates. Crores of people, SIP mandates, LIC premium mandate. Crores of people are already using the system. ये हमारे लिए नया है. We have so many questions, which is reasonable. But then there is no need to get very sensitive about it, because e-IPO. Now e-IPO SEBI is going to mandate use of this system only. So more we get used to it, then the mandate is 2 lakh rupees maximum. That is the retail. They can put 2 lakhs. तो पब्लिक एक बार 2 लाख का मैंडेट देगा, फिर बोलेगा हर बार मेरा अप्लाई करो. पीपल विल गिव. E-mandate. Now today this paper which is there, it will be replaced by a electronic form.
I was asking that only.
So that your next answer is
trade file format, like we get this format. So
yes. On a mobile app.
No, we will put in our software, back office software.
Correct.
And they will prepare the system once
correct.
all the customer.
Correct. So that is the
that
next stage which will come in 3 months time.
So we are what we are.
आपको भी.
So what we are.
नहीं, हम लोग ये चाहते हैं कि ये फॉर्म जैसे आपने बोला राइटली, ये सब कस्टमर से इतना सारा मैनुअल करने के बजाय आपने फाइल फॉर्मेट दे दिया, हम वो फाइल बना लेंगे अपने बैक ऑफिस सॉफ्टवेयर.
So what we are doing is, so for example, I'll give you, you must do it through a website. Yeah, we can do from Bank of India website as well. We will do it for example, just give you example, we are already talking to 4-5 corporates. So Reliance Mutual Fund, they will have on their website register for the e-mandate, right? Automatically, he will enter all this data on a website. He will also authenticate himself with the bank's internet banking and user ID and password, right? So that also we are working on. Top 10 banks of the country would be available on e-mandate before March end, right? Which is like a 70-80% of the mandate business right now.
What I am saying, my bank is available.
Yes.
You give me this format, I will prepare in my software and I give all to my customers. I will take a printout from my software, this format.
Yes.
I did not need to put manually every account number of every client.
As a broker, you put it on your website.
We are saying that same thing.
And
see,
we will take a printout from the system.
No. See, what I'm saying is, no. See, what I'm saying is, so this is the correct process, right? Once the e-mandate is there, then you don't need to do anything. Automatically, your website would get integrated with the payment aggregators like BillDesk and Tech Process. And automatically the authentication will happen, no paper sign up is required. So electronic mandate would be generated registered, customer will authenticate himself. Here, what is the authentication mechanism? The signature verification, right? There, the authentication is internet banking user ID and password. So once that comes in, right, even that 4 days SLA, we are planning to get it down to 1 day. So today you register, tomorrow morning you can process the transaction.
All this idea is very good, but certain cases customers are not registering themselves as internet banking. Many customers.
So now, what I'm saying is, okay, we will have to look at, so what is the today internet banking total, active customer set, right? So that it will depend on what is the internet banking active customer set. So today if the number is 70 million, right? 70 million people would be able to use it. But the way banks are spreading internet banking user ID and password, I am sure in next 1 or 2 years time, it will go to 150, 200 million customers who have the internet banking user ID password.
Sir, my question is from a different angle. Suppose I have one Mr. A customer.
Yes.
He has no internet banking.
This is the alternate mechanism works.
I will put the system.
Yes.
I will print out this.
It is one of the mechanisms.
I ask him to sign in.
Yes. That's it. Scan it and put it.
Many customers are not taking internet banking for whatever, so old customers are very secure.
They will use the signature. They will use the signature. Signature remains.
Format will be available.
Signature remains. And one more thing, what Madam was telling, that why the RBI ECS format was not very popular, because RBI ran ECS as a decentralized process. So for example, if you have a customer in Ahmedabad, right, if he has to get the mandate register, right, it has to happen in the Ahmedabad RBI clearing house, right? You can't debit the file from Mumbai, right? Now what happens is this becomes a nationally single NACH system. So you can get any customer anywhere sitting across the country in a standard format. So we have a centralized format, we have a centralized mandate processing, centralized file processing, centralized dispute management. So we have, if the customer wants to dispute the transaction, we have a centralized dispute management system. We have made operated centralized arbitration, right? So you don't need to worry about it. So we take care from a central perspective up to end life cycle of the customer. So even if, for example, customer disputes today, right? He can only register the complaint from Ahmedabad, right? If he's somehow relocated. So right now he can register the complaint centrally to the bank. So the whole play becomes central, and it can get the scale what we are looking at today, which any payment system should have. Did I answer your question? Yeah.
The only thing is, I think you need to have that cutout that you take from a printer. You need the format of the check form, it's a check format size. So if you take a printout, you need to ensure that you cut it in the same size as prescribed.
As I told you, I will take a soft format of this file format and I put in the system. Like trade file we have processed.
Right.
We will import in our system. That permanently, if I have a 5,000 customer, I do not need to prepare it. I will just ask the printer.
Perfect.
200 printouts will be removed every day.
No issues.
So all the lot of paperwork will be.
No, fair enough. The only thing what you need to ensure is the size, because see, finally what we are saying is the banks will use the existing check scanning infrastructure for this activity. So the size should be, we have deliberated it has taken a year's time to come to the format. In fact, we got some changes done, Madam gave some inputs, we have made the changes, but the size of the mandate is very important for us. We don't want it like a full page mandate, we want it like a check size mandate only.
So that you give me the format?
Yeah, so we can send you the soft copies and whatever it is. Yeah, we will send the soft copies. In fact, Kiran, are we carrying any hard copies?
Soft.
So why don't you give?
Sir, soft copy in the sense.
Sir, we will send you soft copy as well. You can take some hard copies as well.
Anybody else has any questions?
I just wanted to know, has NPCI fixed up any cap on the maximum?
No. Is there any cap?
There is no cap. The only thing is that if you say, for example, 10 crore.
So right now there is system driven, there is no cap. So this system traditionally is also there is no cap. But I'm sure once you have the mandate which is running in crores, the bank who's approving might have some observations. So banks will ensure to reach out to the customer. For example, if we sign the amount of 1 crore, they will reach out to the customer and take a back-to-back confirmation.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bank charge 2-3 rupees per leaf for the checkbook. which will get saved in this system. Yes.
Hello. What happens if there is no balance is short in the client's account?
Then you have to resend it. You represent it. One representation is there.
Only one.
Yeah, one है ना कितना है represent?
That depends on your choice. If you want it to represent, you represent.
नहीं वो वापस इंस्ट्रक्शन भेजना पड़ता है.
The system doesn't stop. You can represent. So, for example, there is a promise to pay. For example, once you are in the retail asset loan recovery मतलब loan payment है. Customer doesn't have a balance. वो क्या करता है? Customer को phone करता है कब balance आएगा? तो वापस से submit करता है. राइट फॉर एग्जाम्पल 10 तारीख को बोलता है कस्टमर 1 तारीख का EMI बाउंस हो गया, 10 तारीख को पे करता है, 10 तारीख को भी बैलेंस नहीं है फॉर एग्जाम्पल, वापस से कस्टमर को फोन करता है, कस्टमर को बोलता है बॉस व्हेन द मनी 12 को वापस से प्रेजेंट करता है. सो सिस्टम डजंट स्टॉप. यू कैन रिप्रेजेंट एनी नंबर ऑफ टाइम्स फ्रॉम अ सिस्टम स्टैंड पॉइंट, बट फाइनली you have a customer relationship, right? In this case you will collect. So you would also not like that the same customer bouncing again and again. Finally you will come to some resolution on that front.
Substance is you have to send the request again, then it will be represented. Means there is no automatic system whereby bounce हो गया और वापस present करोगे. No automatic system. So you should have it in your system कि you resend it. Okay, anybody else? Yes.
All the orders have to sign the mode or only the as per the mode.
वो है ना either or survivor.
So even a single holder, either or survivor case.
See, your operational instruction is 2 signatory, 2 have to sign. Operational instruction is either or 1 person sign. जो भी चेक का है ना same thing will apply. चेक का जो भी है ना that will apply. So same instructions will be followed.
And so as you mentioned about electronic mandates, that will be coming up in another 3 months' time.
3 months.
So most of the banks will be covered in this.
That is what that's why, because there is a huge integration on the bank side. So we have said top 10 banks will be available by March.
Means all 10 promoters of this company will be available in short.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah. Yes.
I just wanted to cross-verify one fact. We've already started this system for our clients in my office. And what we've understood from our banker is that every time a file is sent from our end to the bank, there's no cross-verifying procedure happening at the bank. For example, if my client has chosen a monthly mode, for the mandate, and supposing the same file gets sent twice by mistake, some clerical error, then there won't be any cross-verification happening from the bank.
See,
is that true?
okay. See, for example, that is again, technically what the clearinghouse says is the validation has to happen before the file is presented to the clearinghouse. Now, which is your bank? You let us know. We will talk to that bank and get it implemented. Which is your bank?
HDFC.
HDFC. In fact, HDFC has this. We'll check it. We'll let you.
Sir, for check return we have the recourse of section 138. Is there any provision in this?
Sir, in the Payment and Settlement Act under which it is provided, this service is provided, section 25 of the Act provides that all provisions of section 138 are applicable for this system as well. If you want, we can circulate that clarification as well to you, sir.
So it applies.
There should be safety of us by any provision. Suppose if the mandate is returned, then what provision I have to recover from the customer?
See, if mandate is not registered only, first understand, then there is no 138 or anything. But once the mandate is registered and you send a transaction request, and if the transaction bounces, then the negotiable instrument act provides that this amounts to check bouncing and you can proceed under section 138.
Equal to check only?
Yes, yes, it is equal to check.
And customer cannot dispute. See, because in the dispute life cycle also, once a mandate is signed, customer can't dispute. Because you have debited, you have pulled the money is with you. Tomorrow the customer can stand up and say, I don't agree with this. We can show him the mandate copy and he has to agree, if his signature is verified.
So this mandate has a stop payment facility also?
So there is no stop payment as such, but there is a mandate deregister process.
Suppose the broker issues the mandate, but the client says no, I want to stop the payment.
Yeah. So
Like
there is a, yes. So there is a. This is like cancel. There is a cancel mandate as well.
Suppose the customer deregister himself, then we can come to know that he has deregistered.
You will come to know when the transaction gets declined.
No, because he has deregistered.
Yeah. Transaction will never go through.
We can get the message that he has.
Yeah.
And what is this IMS system?
IMPS.
We want to make a payment to a very remote area. Clients are there across India.
Yeah.
And,
So IMPS, can I come to IMPS in a minute? I will just go if any NACH pending
Check
doubt.
copy has to be attached with this mandate.
Sorry?
Check copies.
No. Check, nothing to do with check.
Because with the current TCS mandate, we are required to.
That is, in this check is not required.
Is the NACH system a replacement of the online payment gateway which are used for web services? Is the NACH system can it be used as a replacement for online payment gateways which are used for e-commerce industry?
Okay, look, this is, I think both systems serve different purpose. This is a pull mechanism, right? Online payment gateway is a push mechanism, right? And online payment gateway, the customer himself is present in every transaction, right? RBI mandate. Once you have the mandate here, you can pull n number of times without customer being there or not there. So that is a fundamental difference of both systems.
So like basically if I have a website of myself and I have customers making payment to me, so I can't use the NACH system?
You see, again, you can use it for the e-mandate service, the website, or as the other sir was saying that, you can put up the e-mandate format on the site. Customer can tick and add and take a print and sign and give it to you. So you can use the website for NACH, but not for the real-time transaction because this is not a real-time system, right? Unlike IMPSs. I'm going to come to IMPS in a while. First, let me. Is NACH all clarified? So IMPS, you see there are 2-3 ways by which IMPS real-time payment can be done. The customer need to have an account with top 80 banks where IMPS is live, right? Point number 1. So you can just add up in any of the internet banking of this top banks and remit the money to this particular customer once you know the IFSC and account number.
No, suppose I have an account in one bank. Suppose Bank of India.
Yes.
Stock exchange branch, and then I have a n number of customers in various.
Yes. So there are two.
They want the money immediately. And
Yes.
today is a
Yes.
payout. Suppose
So there are 2-3 ways.
I want to remit
Allow me to complete. I'll answer your question. So one is either if you have few payments, somebody can log in on your internet banking or Bank of India account and remit the money on a real-time basis. If you have many entries, for example, if you have thousands of entries on a daily basis, what you can do is you can create a file and submit to the Bank of India. Bank of India will create into a real-time transaction and submit to us. There are 2 options available. The second option might require some customization at Bank of India, but that is not a very minor. It's a very minor. It can be done in a week's
I
time.
have taken a hypothetical means all the banks for any banker.
So any bank, sir, इसमें क्या है? Your point is very valid, and we also get beating up from every day and night that why IMPS.
I can do all the transactions.
See, it is like this. IMPS is little bit of advanced product, right? A bank to understand and appreciate the need and join the network, it takes some time. So right now 80 banks are live, right, on IMPS. To get it another 200 banks, it will take a year's time, year and a half's time to get them on the board. Because the bank has to feel the need to come on the platform.
Because this will be both the way. Suppose I need to pay my customer, it will go fast. And suppose my customer wants to give me the money fast today.
Yeah.
On the same day, suppose.
Yeah. So we can use IMPS.
10 o'clock in the morning, I will receive the money from my customer.
Yeah. So we can do that. IMPS, file based or whatever it is, we can handle.
I think we should thank you all audience for asking so many questions. I am happy that really interested people have come. As I said, we will be circulating this entire set of documents, and I request Mr. Das also on your stock exchange branch address you can circulate to all the customers what this system is about. And I think we can have one more session like this. When there is some other program which is there, we'll have one more session so that more number of people after the email is sent, they can study and they can come back and they can use this system. Of course, in NSC and me also we had a program, and there we had a good number of people who also participated over there. And I am thankful to our DGM, Mr. Pawan from Bank of India, Mr. Surti. Both of them have taken time and they have come here. Dilip Dilip is the CEO of NPCI, and he was very keen, though he has to catch a flight, he still came. So everybody here is very keen. Personally, I am very excited. Personally, I am very excited because this eases out a big headache from brokers' office of collecting money all the time. You just send every day a file and the money will come. It can't be better than this. So I feel personally that this is a great product, and all of us, if we use it, we can make our, because for depository we have got auto pay in, auto pay out, everything is happening. But for money, a similar system is now available, which I think all of us can use. And of course, a lot of success of this is going to depend on Mr. Das of Bank of India, because he is going to be the first point of contact so far as this entire system is concerned. So we want this to make successful, and it will be my personal mission that every program I am going to talk about it and see to it that maximum people get enrolled and we can use this system, because it is really revolutionary. And as he said, if e-mandates come and e-IPO, where we will not have a form also, all you need to do is use an app and apply for the IPO. If that kind of systems are being planned by SEBI, then at least the base level system we all need to understand, we need to use. So I thank all the participants, as well as I would also thank BSE Brokers Forum, Mr. Aditya. Please, yeah.
Really appreciate, you can please hand over a moment of...
Yeah. Mr. Das, please come.